Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Here we are.
Here
I'm
it
already
is.
tired from talking.
Well, because it's Max Fun Drive. We joined Max Fun earlier this year, and it's listener-supported network, and the Max Fun Drive is the one time a year we ask listeners to pledge their support to our show. So we'll talk more about Max Fun later, but this episode and the next episode will have a couple of Max Fun breaks.
Yeah. I mean, they're pledge breaks, but,
And it's only 2 episodes a year.
Right.
So, and we joined a thing that you guys wanted us to do. We're blaming it on you. You wanted us to join those people because they were cool, and you're right. Anyway, stand-up comedy.
And you know what? They're each 5 minutes long, so the episode will be an hour and 10. It's not like we're not cutting out bitching and complaining. It's additional
really? We're not going to do
content.
50?
No,
Ooh, this is additional content.
Yes, the pledge break is additional.
So the last
content.
time I saw you,
right,
was in New York City. We did QED.
I know, that was
and then
so
we did
long
the bonus
ago.
thing for the Max Fun.
Right,
it was a long time ago. I know. And then I had several dinners with a bunch of different comics in the New York area. Mm-hmm. And
so I went back to Los Angeles for a couple days to, I have a child that goes to school.
Right, you have
and
a
then
job.
then I returned the next weekend, but you were leaving that day. So you hung out in New York, and you were sick, too. I felt bad. You had to cancel a spot.
I had to cancel a spot because I had a weird stomach flu. I ate a funny whelk, which is a Harry Potter reference. You remember.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, welcome back. Anyway.
But wait a minute. Could you have crawled across glass to get to that spot?
I was just talking to my brother today, and I was telling him how these 3 weeks that we're about to start here, I have turned down more work so that I can stay home.
Yeah. Wow.
And I had to do it.
Like good paid work?
Yeah, NPR.
What?
I had to turn down an NPR spot, 2 weekends full of work, and what was the fucking other thing? It was something big. Oh, it was a private.
Wow.
In New York. And I was like,
Jackie,
Dude,
it's comedy. That shit dries up.
Well, so do I. And if I explode in a pile of goo, Brody Stevens is dead.
Yeah.
So why don't we treat ourselves like the Fabergé eggs that we are, and then we will get to live.
That's true.
Yeah, it was okay. So there's this. Remember this dirtbag that everyone keeps talking about?
Yes.
And you know who is opening?
No.
For him, Fredo. I don't know if you ever saw
Fredo.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I don't know if you ever saw The Godfather, but essentially,
who's the opener?
This guy.
Because you have someone else's name, and I'm like, not that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, really?
It is that guy. Yeah, that guy.
Oh.
Yeah, that guy. He's you know what he is? Nice enough guy.
He's very nice, and he's very funny. He's a really good joke writer, and I don't know.
Everyone
people
just wants money.
People need gigs.
People need gigs. Would you do it?
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. In fact, I think it should be a female comic.
Always.
But
then you always think it should be a female comic.
Well, I do, but I mean, you.
By the way, you stole Carmen Morales. She can't open for me at Flappers because she's already opening for you. And
that's
Aaron
what
Foley.
I do.
And Aaron Foley.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She could work a couple extra gigs, right? She can
Aaron Foley and you. And so I was like, well, what about Carmen Morales? And Josh over at Flappers was like, no, she's great. No, we like it. Anyway, there's other people. And I was like, of course there's other people. And then I picked other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Danielle Perez.
Oh,
going to feature
that's
for
great.
me one night.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I said it too soon that it would. I wouldn't want to open for anybody, quite frankly.
But that, of course, that speaks to exactly where I am at. Because here's the thing: there are people that I wouldn't open for, right?
Right.
Who I opened for Brian Regan. I opened for Maria Bamford.
Right.
Those are people that I would open for because they're comics that I also want to watch their hour. If it's not a comic I don't want to watch their hour,
Dude, then you get to leave the gig immediately. I would only work for comics who I can't stand watching.
But when you do those theater gigs and you travel, you can't.
Why not?
Well, because, okay, here's the thing.
You got to sell merch, right?
No.
I could go back in the green room and go on Twitter for an hour and then say, good set. Who's going to know the difference?
I'm just telling you that you spend some quantity time with a mediocre comic who fills stadiums.
Yeah,
you'll die a little death. You might as well just end up getting a clown hat. It's like, don't do it. Don't. You deserve better than that. Is what I'm saying.
Of course. But sometimes you need gigs, and sometimes you need money. And
I would. You know who I'd feature for? Conan O'Brien.
Oh,
right. Yeah, because you know what?
That's a sweet
I would love
one.
to see his hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But let's say, let's name some names, shall we?
What?
Who wouldn't we headline feature for?
What?
Don't you want to burn some bridges? Let's do it.
No, I don't.
I know you don't. You never want to burn any, but I totally want you to.
Look, every bridge is redeemable. Every bridge can be infrastructure we could hit at any time and fix a broken bridge. That's what I say.
I was just explaining to somebody, I know who it was, my Rolfer. Why wouldn't I be explaining stand-up comedy to my Rolfer? And he was talking to me about people who steal jokes, and I was like, I haven't burned several bridges of sort of shitty one-nighter guys and joke steal booker guys because what if I need $150?
You never know, dude.
I almost certainly do know, and I know that I'm going to. I know that I'm going to need $150, but I would like to be above it.
I don't know if we're on the way up anymore, or we're headed down, or we're plateauing, or I don't know, but we're all headed for something awful, which is, our ultimate old age and death, and we're going to need gigs.
There's part of me that wants to believe, and feel free to tell me I'm wrong, but there's part of me that wants to believe that if I stand by my beliefs and I don't work with a dirtbag or an idiot that I don't admire, that there will be work.
Okay.
There will be work. There will be other work.
Right.
If sort of turning down this work these 3 weeks.
I think that's very brave. I mean, I'm in a position where I'm not in that position. My life situation is very different right now.
You have a bigger plate to fill.
But yeah, and I don't have to take every comedy gig because I have a writing job, you know? And so I
You things are slightly easier for you, but they're also slightly harder for you, I think.
Whatever they are. Who knows? But I think it's very brave of you, who is strictly a touring comic, to go, I wouldn't work with this guy.
Yeah, there are people that I don't want to hang out with for hours on end. And
again, go immediately back to your hotel room and wear your Hilton honors robe.
If there were only Hilton honors robes. I'm not taking this isn't necessarily, and I don't always do it,
Right.
It takes practice to have integrity, and sometimes I fail, and sometimes I don't want to have integrity. I want to do the gig. And I want to just, if I'm going to hang out with the guy that slaps asses, or if I'm going to hang out with the woman who slaps asses, I don't want to, but
Who? Is that just a...
No, I told you about her. I was in the green room.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? And it was a pain in the ass. I was like, what are you doing? And
I feel like the audience...
or should I write it?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
The audience just shows up for shows, and
yes.
you are not tied to the comic before you or after you. Your time on stage is yours. You can do what you want with it,
which I think is different from like a showcase kind of showcase. Like that would be something else that I'm like, would I do? Because I want to do the cellar.
Have to.
I want to do the cellar.
Yes, of course.
And
the audience is there, wants to hear a female comic, and the women there, especially if someone like that's on stage, are like, motherfucker, there better be a fun woman coming up soon.
Yes.
So yeah.
So
of course you have to.
Right. So, some of it. I mean. And it's certainly easy to rationalize. I was like, as a woman, I should definitely go up at that place. But it's also, I think, basically very true. that I think you're right, but there's part of me that feels like I'm rationalizing. But if I don't go up, what women would, No. But the thing is, it's not rationalizing; it's actually a fact.
No, there's never enough female comics at any gig, ever, ever, ever. And then we cut ourselves out of them because we don't approve of some of the males that they hire.
What's his face? Adam told me that I could call in my avails at the store.
Oh, cool.
And granted, I have not been in town for more than a heartbeat in months.
Right.
So, but I think I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough. And see, how I found out about the store in 1984 was from all of those seriously messed up comics.
Right.
It was Carl LeBeau and Lou Deck and Stephen Allen Green and Sam Kinison and Freddie Asparagus and all these guys.
Freddie Asparagus.
Remember
what?
Freddie Asparagus?
No, I've never. I would know that
80s.
name if I'd heard it before.
Yeah.
Trust me.
There were several gentlemen went with names that also had vegetables.
Oh my
You missed
God.
the great vegetable comedy run of the 80s and early 90s. But whatever it was, I heard their stories of the store, and they were all stories that were just these gross, nightmarish,
Right.
giant cocaine party-ish kind of things. And I was like, I don't want to. And then when I moved here in 96, 97, I hung out at the store a little bit, and it was just foul, And I tried again about 10 years later in 2004.
Was that when Tommy was running it?
It was still Tommy.
Yeah.
And remember when the guy who started the business with Tommy?
Oh my God!
When we
Approached
were-
us.
yeah,
Oh my
at
God!
Meltdown?
Yeah, it was great.
It was, but so, and I remember, I think it was 2006 or 2008, and there was a comic up in the original room doing a Monica Lewinsky joke. And it was in that sweet spot when nobody even remembered her name. It was
2008.
it would have been the perfect time to not do that joke.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, nope, I'm going there.
Closing on it.
Exactly. I mean, it wasn't like there was a Lifetime, now there's a Lorena Bobbitt movie coming out.
Right.
So there's a
no,
reason
it's
to
on
do.
Netflix right now.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's a reason to do it.
Yeah.
But not anyway.
Right.
So but about the point of this is that about 5 or 6 years ago, I credit it to Marin, but it's probably not.
Mm-hmm.
It's but a lot of the sort of smarter, cooler, younger comics were going to the store.
Yeah.
And making it cool again.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Marin went, and Eddie Pepitone, and essentially people who I felt like were kind of our age and our level
Yeah.
of quality comedy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I kind of wanna, and then there wasn't any parking, and now, but now I'm regrouping on.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll find parking. It'll be fine.
Right, and we should talk about Brody.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking
I don't know what to
Brody.
say besides
Brody Stevens. Brody.
Jackie.
Laurie
Jackie
Kilmartin.
Cation.
It's always good to see Laurie Kilmartin.
Every story someone's telling about Brody, I can fucking hear it perfectly in his voice. He had such a specific voice and the way and cadence. Even the word, he talked about cadence on stage. But
Here's what I
he
didn't-
was so unique.
I
and
didn't
so
tell
funny
anyone.
and so wild.
Is when I heard about it, I spent 2 hours. It was right after that Jussie Smollett bullshit, and I was like, "Tell me that this is a terrible Zach Galifianakis joke." And for 2 hours, I thought maybe it is. And then it isn't.
Yeah.
I was so prepared to be angry and relieved.
Right.
That would have been. I mean, it's the kind of shit that
I heard from a couple people that his SAG health insurance ran out and he was not able to access
his
meds.
meds. Mm-hmm. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yep.
And that guy needed meds.
Yeah.
He was and he couldn't ask.
Well, I don't know. I think part of sometimes that disease is that you start to, maybe you don't take them because you don't have them and you're like, I feel great, I don't need them. I mean, I think that's part of what's so tricky about it.
Oh, crying out loud.
Yeah.
And the thing is I I wasn't close friends with him at all.
Right.
I was just,
Yeah, me
it was
neither.
comedy friends,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But I was always psyched to see him. Mm-hmm. Because he was always, you kind of knew what the set was going to be when he got up. Mm-hmm. But you didn't know where it was going to go, but you knew that it would come back to the same hooks, you know?
Yeah.
The guy was the kind of guy who had hooks. He was old school comedy hooks.
He did have some old schoolness to him.
It felt like old timey, but the jokes that he wrote were smart and funny, like the real jokes.
But it was so compelling how aware he was of every single audience member and their responses.
Yeah.
And so the audience is just like in a good fear. You want the audience to be in fear that you're going to call on them next. So so they're on the edge of their seats because they don't know what's going to happen, because he can tell if you look the other direction.
Right. If you weed off in the slightest way,
he would be all over.
He would bounce all over you. Yeah.
And so that's just so exciting to watch, you know. And you know, when there's a lot of comics, and you and me and a lot of us are just like trying to get the 5 minutes set and trying to get this and that, and when you watch someone on stage that's not trying to do all these careful, precise things and is trying to do something else completely that only lives on stage that night in front of that audience and then goes away immediately, because
there's the reason not to leave the room.
Yeah, you don't recreate it exactly ever again. You know, he was an amazing performer.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, real shitty, real sad.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of comics that are, you know,
troubled. Well,
yes.
I tweeted this thing that I said, you know, somebody, Janelle James tweeted something, and I quoted it, and I said, this guy didn't think he was enough. And I thought about that, and I was like, that's not why, I don't feel like that's why he did it. Because I always thought he knew he was enough. He just got tired.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. But I think he had bipolar disease, right? Which I can't even crawl into that and say, oh, this is what it was. And,
oh, no.
You know, I mean, who knows what sort of, what that feels like. I don't know. Only another person would.
Right. Someone with that disease knows.
Tell you what it feels like. And it's not getting spots that will ever cure it. You know, not that it cures anything, but.
Well, it does for me, which means that I don't have bipolar.
No.
You know, which means, I mean, it's a very grateful thing that I've never, that I don't have that particular ism.
I don't know if I knew this or if I read about it after. I mean, I read about it afterwards, but I think I might have heard it. But he was molested as a child.
Oh, it was the joke.
What?
That he did, it was Gary Lucy quoted one of his jokes about how he was molested as a child, and the guy went to jail for 6 years. It usually, for the crime that the guy was convicted of, he would go to jail for 3 years. But he actually molested Brody in a highway work zone. And so fines were doubled.
That's right! That's right!
And I'm not doing it justice, but that was the joke.
Oh my God! So good.
It's the greatest.
So good.
Have you ever watched a movie so bad you just needed to talk to somebody about it?
Well, here at the Flophouse, we watch a bad movie and then talk about it.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. We'll watch it and we'll talk it. We do the hard work.
Featuring the beautiful vocal talents of Dan McCoy,
Stuart Wellington,
and me, America's Rascal, Elliot Kalin.
New episodes every other Saturday at MaximumFun.org or wherever you get your podcasts, dude. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It's such a good joke. Oh, criminy.
But you know, that fucking kills a soul when it happens to a child.
Yeah.
I can't take it. Like this Catholic bishop, I think, an archbishop in Australia. It's like the highest Catholic bishop in Australia was is a sex offender, right?
Yeah.
Is a rapist, and his lawyer defended him and was trying to plead out or something. Was saying, well, it was just kind of vanilla sort of rape and it wasn't anything. And
Happy Women's Month. What?
it was little boys.
And it was young boys.
But I mean, it's astonishing how I think prevalent it is and how common it is for young kids to have something like that happen to them, and we just sort of don't treat it, and we don't help them, and all of a sudden there's these adults walking around with these horrible wounds that you don't know how to treat. I mean, whatever happened to me, that tiny thing, I was an older teenager, was so devastating. I can't imagine being like fucking 5 years old or 6 and not being able to process it. It's just awful.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's not a controversial take. That's for sure.
Wow, breaking new ground. Turns out Kilmartin against rape.
Child rape. Come on, Jackie.
Oh, exactly.
Please,
Let's
specific.
So I did many sets in New York City.
Right.
And then I went to Long Island. I went with Leah Bonema, and we took the train together, and the second train got canceled.
The train back?
Nope. The train, we had to switch trains in Babylon, Long
Okay.
Island, to get to West Hampton Beach.
Okay.
So we took a lift,
How much?
$80.
Ooh.
But, and the guy he was, speaking of horrible things, he was playing the news, and I said, hey, this ride's an hour. You gotta put some music on. And he goes, oh, it's Fox News. I really like the show. And I said, not a chance. You gotta turn it off. And Leah was just looking at me, and I was like, oh no, I'm not dealing. This is not happening. and I had a tiny meltdown, and I was like, no, turn it off. Any music at all, or silence, none of it. I was like, and he was like, well, it's my show. And I was like, yeah, it'll be on the internet later. Yeah, you can listen to whatever crazy thing you want to do. I was like, not regular news, no news.
Yeah.
Not Nazi news, not commie news, nothing in between.
How's the show?
The show was fascinating. The guy who books it.
That's never a good adjective to describe
right
a stand-up
before
show.
we went up, and I love Graham, and the staff was amazing.
Graham Elwood?
No, the Graham Slayton, the guy who books it.
Oh, okay.
And he used to book the Austin Comedy Festival for the city of Austin.
Well, he never booked me.
Well, that guy. What does he know? Except for that.
Must be nice to be him.
Well, it's nice to be liked occasionally by people who don't like you, because everybody likes you. And but he was so funny because it wasn't particularly funny, because right before Leo went up, he goes, hey, so this is the townies, and this is West Hampton, so there's some Trump supporters out there in the audience. And I said, we're going to need our checks now. And I said, you're going to have to cancel them if we don't do well. And he goes, don't worry about it. And I said, nope, just as Kevlar. I just need to have the check in my pocket. And so he gave us the checks before we went up.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I felt better about the whole situation.
Good.
And then the audience was fine. They loved
sure.
it. It was great. And it was super fun.
Cool.
And the shows were great, and everybody was super sweet. And so we did that. We ended up train back to the city. Was fine. And then but then I was doing a bunch of sets in New York, and I realized something about when you do 3 sets a night in New York, 3 10 to 15 minutes.
Is that all you did? How cute.
It wasn't it?
How cute.
Fucking find a name
How
to the show
relaxing.
for that fucking thing. How relaxing. How cute to just do 3 sets. Oh, this is the
Wait,
end.
I'm going to bring up my schedule for one of my Friday, Saturdays. But you keep talking.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Someone who does 6 sets within 9 blocks of each other and makes $900 in a night.
Well, now you've taken away some of my thunder, but keep talking. Go ahead.
I was going to try to bond with you about how you. What I ended up doing was I ended up writing 2 new bits that were very silly.
Oh.
Because all the bits that I've been working on, because I don't know if you know this, I headline on the road.
Oh, yeah, I do. I'm
yeah,
aware.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so as a headliner, I do long sets,
Uh-huh.
and there's a lot of time to work on the big issues.
Really? Great.
Yeah.
I did 2 7s tonight.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell me about your life of 50s and 60s.
Oh, we're throwing down. Anyway, but it was. I thought it was actually kind of fun because I ended up working on. I got sick of how intense it was.
It is intense.
So if you're doing lots of short sets in a row, you're like, oh, I can't work on this huge socio-political thing.
No.
About my stepmother.
Especially not on a
again.
weekend. No.
Right on
No.
the weekend.
Can I give you my Friday?
Yeah.
7:45 stand up.
Yep.
Okay. 8:20 the comic strip.
Wow.
So I get off stage at 7. Say I got up a little bit early. I said, "Hey, I gotta." I probably got off at like 7:58 instead of 8.
Okay.
Jump in a cab. There's a cab right there. Jumped in a
that's
cab.
awesome.
We go through the park. I get to the strip. I said, "I'm on my way. I'll probably be there at around 8:10."
Right.
Got there at 8:10. Did that. So 8:20. So I get off stage at 8:35. 9:10 at the East Village New York Comedy Club. So I've got like 20.
Is that the one next to that Crane Theater?
No, it's
Eastville?
on 4th and 2nd. It used to
Okay.
be the Eastville. It's near the KGB bar.
Yeah.
So I get to that one in time, like within like 5 minutes.
Good.
And I saw the tail end of our comic of the week there.
Oh, nice.
And then then I get off stage at 9:10 to say 9:35. Right, 9:25.
Okay.
10:15 at stand up. So
Wow.
I got to go up to the Upper West Side,
Yeah.
which is it's just a lot of driving. And
Yeah.
then 10:30 or 11:30 at Broadway. So
Okay.
stand up is 10:15 to 10:30, and then I walked
You had
to
an hour.
Broadway.
Oh, did you walk? Oh, that's
it was
nice.
Like, 20-25 blocks or
Was
something.
how was the weather? There was one day I kept missing the
rainy.
weather as I was traveling
Yeah.
around the country
And then
last week.
Saturday 7:30 stand up, 8:20 strip, so there's a little more room there. 9:15 stand up, 10:30 Broadway, 11:15 stand up, 12 a.m. Broadway.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Bing 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 bing.
Yeah. So
I was in heaven.
did you tighten everything up? Is everything good?
Everything's in pieces now.
Well,
like it's
you
weird.
gotta take
Like
it apart to put it together.
well, and then Mike Britt, who was so fucking funny. Do you know Mike Britt? He used to do Best
think
Week
I've met
Ever.
him, but,
yeah.
yeah.
And that guy is such a great comic. And he doesn't go on the road a lot, I don't think. He just stays in New York. And his crowd work is so funny, and it's really specific to New York. I mean, it's brilliant. Now,
Yeah,
do you want to
he's
follow
doing
him?
his thing, yeah.
No. But
But-
he's so fucking good.
Yeah.
But he was emceeing at the Strip, and I went up after him, and he gave me an idea, like a callback. I was like, oh my God, it's right. Of course, duh. And it worked twice, and then it hasn't worked since I got back to LA.
Right.
But then I changed something else, and it's getting like a really strong laugh, but I feel like it's taking the laugh from this other part that was getting a laugh, because now that's not getting. Now what was the closing laugh that I could always
Right.
count on is like petering out. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know what's happening with this bit anymore.
Right. Well,
I
gotta
hate
go-
this. I hate this process.
right.
And plus, I'm doing all the sets like right now in LA, so I feel like it's deja vu every single night where I'm just trying to tinker with one thing, as opposed to at least being on the road where you're in front of different crowds or different venues or different cities, and you don't feel like oh, these people have seen this or
Oh, right,
everyone's
'cause-
like, oh, here we go again with this one.
Yeah, because we did that show the other night, and you're like, if you are comics and you've heard these, because
I
that was the
know.
other night at Jake's thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
The same,
the Comedy
yeah.
Bureau. Yeah.
Yes. Which was a lot of fun. It
That was a lot of fun.
The Comedy Bureau's 8th anniversary, 8 years of every
Of
day
him
updating
every day
a
updating
website,
that calendar.
telling people where they can get spots.
Yeah, where they
I
can go.
mean,
Yeah,
For God's sakes.
exactly.
He has
yeah.
a Patreon. If you have ever, even if you just do $1 a month if you're a comic,
Yeah.
if a bunch of comics who've ever used it,
Yeah, try
would
to
help
throw
out
them
so
$12
much.
a year. You
yeah,
can do it.
Seriously, how many
Yeah.
times have you looked on that and found a spot and been
Just-
able to get up,
or
you
even
know?
just a place to go hang out. And well, no, because when you first move here, you gotta hang out. And so, are we comic of the week?
Where are we?
Comic of the week.
Okay,
Do it.
Maddy Smith.
What's her handle? Did you ever find her?
I think it's
So Maddy Smith.
So Maddy Smith, Maddy.
Yep.
Smith, and she was up at New York Comedy Club. She was on stage right when I like blew in from my cab.
Okay.
And she still had a couple minutes left, and what I saw made me laugh a lot. She's really
that's
funny.
great.
And then other people were telling me, "Oh my God, she's only been doing it 4 years, and she's like really good." And
We'd like to open for you, Maddie. Keep plugging along. Start filling stadiums, and you're going to need some openers.
yeah.
It's going to be us. So
Don't make us make compromised decisions.
So we what I did was I left New York and I went to Fargo, and Fargo had just gotten so much snow. They're getting so much snow in Minnesota and North Dakota and Wisconsin that they have to shovel the existing snow to get it out of the way so there's room to put the new snow.
Wow.
Which is
What do they do with that snow? What do they do with that? I mean, what do they do with that water? Does it go into a reservoir, or what do they do with the fucking snow?
Well, the snow melts and goes into the river and the lakes and the
Yeah, but the stuff they're pushing off the side of the road.
No,
what happens?
here's what happens. You shovel your sidewalk, and then it snows again, and you shovel your sidewalk again, and then you have a giant snowdrift next to you, and you're like, oh, I have to level off this snowdrift so I can shovel the sidewalk again. So you have to, what you shoveled last week,
Right.
you have to then shovel further deeper into your yard.
Could we take refrigerated trucks and pick up all that snow and drive it down to
The
Arizona
desert? Yeah.
or Nevada?
No.
Is that possible?
You
You guys don't need it all. It's being wasted.
You can't have our water. It's you cannot have our water. It's but it was, the shows were so great. She sold out all these shows.
Oh my God.
Here's what happens when you do theaters now, is they take a cut of the merch.
That is shitty.
It is, and it's not the venue taking it, it's the promotional people. So, and it's anywhere between 10 to 30%.
Wow.
So what? Yeah. 30% is blowing my mind. Yeah. Yeah, that's nuts, right? That's insane. Yeah. And so, the
do you
Kathleen
just-
Madigan rule comes
Yeah.
back into effect, and people are paying $20 for a spooky reading girl and a meat shield pin. And I did tell people who were like, well, that seems like a lot for an enamel pin. I said, here's what you should know. They're actually $10 on my website. But they're $20 here because the theater takes a cut. And so the good
And there's
news
no
is,
negotiating out of that?
I don't think so. I mean, there certainly wasn't at this level. And
Wow.
so what I did was, here's the good news, is the Meat Shield donations, I hit another $1,000. Wow. So I can donate another $1,000. I'm trying to find...
So they take a cut of the stuff that you used to donate?
Yeah. Yeah, they take a cut of all of it. So, but the thing is so instead of charging $10 for the Meat Shield pin, I charged $20 for the Meat Shield pin. And then they took, it was... I think Duluth took 18% and Fargo took, or 16%, and then Fargo took 18%. And so
Do they at least do all the?
they do the math.
Well, do they handle the sales, the dollars, the? So
Oh,
you
no.
they just
Yeah.
you show up with everything, you do all the work, and they just take a big percentage of it.
Yeah. So, but the good news is that I get to the donation level with the Meat Shield pin faster.
Right.
And then the other good news is I make more money on the spookies. So, but I don't charge more for the CDs because
Yeah.
everything's $20.
Right.
But Maria was selling. She made a comic book with Scott.
Oh.
It's their love story told through their pugs. And Scott did all the illustrating, and it's gorgeous. And she sold out of them, so I did not get to buy one.
Maria, I love
And
it.
it's so great. And then she had tea towels, and
Sure.
yeah, but we sold just a banana load, just a boatload of stuff, and it was great.
Cool.
But the shows were really good. Though Scott would sit in the back, and I guess in one of the shows there was some guy who was super hammered, and it's so weird because I think the tickets are like $35 to get into see these theaters to see the show.
Right.
And this guy's hammered. He's half in the bag. I guess during my set and Maria's set, he would occasionally come to and go, liberals, fucking liberals. And then he would pass out again. And then eventually Scott was like, well, maybe I'll say something to him. And there was another guy further along who was like, maybe I'll say something to him. But finally the guy just got up and left. And then the guy in Duluth, Maria was like, well, do those people ever ask for refunds? And the guy in Duluth goes, so sad, too bad. That there's no refunds.
Yeah, there's no refunds.
At a theater gig. You just, especially if you sat through most of it.
Yeah.
And
you took a ticket.
yeah.
That somebody
And
else
then
could have.
Here's the thing that happened. Kyle will enjoy this story because in
I'd like it if you
Duluth-
told stories I would enjoy.
too late. Why don't you tell me again the 9 sets that you did?
Hold on, let me open up my Evernote.
Jesus H. Christ.
It was actually 11 in 2 days.
Was it 11? Pardon me while I silently jerk off. So
Russ Maneve, if I remember correctly, did 11 in one night once.
Fred Armisen told me he had sex one time 9 times in a night.
Why would he tell you that?
Exactly. I said, but not to completion 9 times. And Fred was like, no, yeah. And I was like, dude, first of all, I don't know why we're having this conversation, but
I would want to talk to the woman.
but I think it was more than one woman.
Oh, sure. It's got to be, right? You wouldn't want it 9 times in one night.
Who needs that rash?
What does Andy do to you?
Not Andy.
Oh, I know, but why was your
why is-
rash as a default
9 times?
response? Oh, I see.
That's
Sure.
I'm talking about the enormity of the friction.
Right.
I was talking to some one of the younger comics in New York, and she was like, I don't know, I think we were just sitting around, and she said something about some guy not wanting to use a condom, and I tweeted this out, but I was like, have you ever tried this line? Does it feel better to not have sex at all or to use a condom? Because the guy said that it didn't feel good if he used a condom. And then he literally, I guess he said to her, don't you trust me? And she was like, we just met. It's
Oh
not
my
like, why would I
God.
trust you? We're about to have sex.
It's not. Your sperm
random.
can escape and impregnate me.
Right.
It's not a trust thing. It's like a biology thing.
There's a biology thing. He was like, well, because, all these guys were doing jokes about how everyone has herpes now. That's what led to it. I was at some venue, and it was one guy after
Does
another
everyone
going,
have herpes now?
according to male comics of a certain age. Not Kyle, but
Kyle looks
Kyle with his-
perplexed.
he's gonna.
It's like I'm left out of something.
Thank God. But I think I feel like it's more a guy's way of telling you he has herpes,
Right.
And please sleep with me anyway. I
Right.
mean, it's just it's a band member trying to get laid. He's
Yeah.
just trying to get laid,
Right.
And he needs to write a better punchline. I swear to God, I saw 3 guys in the week. 3 different
talking about having herpes?
Yeah. And the premise was, can we just admit that everyone has herpes now? That was the setup.
No,
That was the setup.
It's everyone's got herpes, so
Yeah.
I don't have to use a condom.
So
Oh my
why
God.
why is everyone such an asshole about herpes? Well, I don't know, because some people don't have herpes, dum dum, and we should all protect ourselves anyway from whatever weird thing is from babies. Anyway, so
I haven't looked up herpes in a long time, but I do think it can lead to things like later on in life that are not good. I don't want
Like
to
a
say
limp?
necessarily dementia or anything like that.
Okay.
Not on a limp.
that's
Is it?
HPV.
Either
Okay.
way, I don't want herpes. I just want that out there.
All right.
And I'm
See,
very tired. It's Saturday night.
What I have to say is that Laurie Kilmartin has taken a stand on so many things tonight. First rape, now herpes. It's Laurie takes a stand. We could call it. That's what we call the show. It's But what was I? There was some point to this. Is
A young female comic talking about condoms.
right, condoms, and
New
it
York
was-
City spots. Jealous of me. I'm sorry. What? Then I forgot.
Well, I know. Yeah, that was the other thing. Somebody asked me if I wanted to do South by Southwest this week.
Oh yeah,
I was
I
like,
got
did you
I
get
got
that
that
asked?
request too.
And
Yeah,
I was like, I can't do it. This is my staycation, except for sets around town.
mine was a couple weeks from now, but it was in
Yeah.
the middle of a Conan week, and I couldn't do it.
Right, you couldn't do it. 'cause
Yeah,
you had
I
work.
didn't even ask what the money was.
Right.
But I also wasn't enticed with a giant amount of money.
Right.
I took my kid to the Japan House today in Los Angeles, and
What is it?
they had a manga anime class.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, he knew a lot of the stuff they were already telling him.
Well, that's what learning is.
Yeah.
And then did he know not some of the stuff?
Oh, very, very little, actually.
Oh, was he kind of a dick about it? What's happening?
No. He
And so
he
was he like, oh, I know all this stuff. I'm already published.
well, like the guy
And,
came around. He's like, "Oh, wow, you're already doing the tea and all whatever, all that."
Yeah. Well, that's neat.
Yeah.
So I mean, the thing is,
what I'm saying is, I did a lot of parenting, and I'm fucking exhausted today.
Oh, fair enough. I got my hair cut.
It looks good. I like it.
Yeah, I got a lot of hairs cut, and it turns out my he kept saying, I want to shape it, and I was like, am I a topiary? What are you going to do? Can you make it into a horse? And or
You must be a delight to work with on every hair project. I was at I did Laura House's show tonight.
Oh, did you? How to Hate Yourself?
Yes. She I told this on stage. So she sent me an email saying, hey, do you want to do a set on how to hate yourself? And I got the email. I was driving, and I thought I will reply when I hit a red light.
Yes.
So I hit a red light, and I open up the email, and there's a new one from Laura saying, filled it. Sorry.
Oh, done and done.
She's on it. But then she slid me in for 5 minutes tonight.
A little work in.
So I could work on this set and realize that it's now morphed into something I don't understand anymore.
No.
And then I did a set at Acme Comedy Club, which used to be
Over
on
on
La
La
Brea.
Brea.
No, they moved.
Oh, where?
They are kind of near where the old Ha Ha was on.
Ha 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 on Lancashire?
Yeah.
On the shim? Mm-hmm. As Jimmy Pardo likes to call it, the shim.
And that was fun. They I guess they used to just have one theater that was all improv and stuff like that, and they acquired the space next to it that they're turning into just a stand-up only space.
So the Acme Theater is now where the old Ha Ha was.
No, not where. Just a little up the street from the old
near
one.
it. Okay.
It's right near Magnolia.
Okay.
Magnolia, Lancashire.
Oh, the NoHo district.
Yeah, a total no-ho. They're
has
putting up a Whole
finally-
Foods across the street.
I know
They're so excited.
For 25 years, they've been trying to gentrify that area, and it's finally
finally
taken.
happened.
But that's because of the subway finally made it there. So in the last 5
subway
years.
no one takes.
People take it.
Really?
Yeah.
To where?
To down. You can go all the way to Santa Monica on it.
All right.
You disapprove of public transportation? What kind of
I
monster
love
are you?
public transportation.
You do
It's
love the idea.
totally inconvenient here in Los Angeles
It's
and
too big.
in San Francisco.
San Francisco, it's inconvenient?
Yes, you have to drive to the BART station. I
Oh.
mean, in the suburbs.
Okay.
You can walk to the ones in the city, of course, but it's not convenient at all. Not like New York. When you live in New York, you're like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to just turn a corner and there's a station. Same with London, you know?
Wow, this seems very cosmopolitan of you. I took lifts all over New York because
you did?
Yeah, I was too tired, and
You're also,
and it was
you were
a
staying
mess.
very central, so it wasn't.
I was in Chelsea. I was
Yeah.
over there on 20 in the Flower District. I would walk out of the hotel and there would be a box full of rose petals. And at one point, I hilariously thought, maybe I buy a box of rose petals, throw them all over my bed, and masturbate.
My God. Oh, my God.
I was on the road alone for 2 weeks.
Wow.
I haven't been
No more
alone.
eating Welk for you.
I haven't been on the road that long by myself for so long.
You seemed a little
I was
out of
down.
sorts.
I was so fucking down. But then by the time I made it to Fargo and I saw Scott and Maria, I was much better.
Okay.
Because I was like, oh, we're in the last leg of it. And
Does Andy ever join you when he comes?
he does, but only if it's fun.
Right.
He would have gone to New York, but he had to work. But he doesn't want to go to Fargo in February. It turns out. And then we drove from Fargo to Duluth, and I haven't done that drive since probably 2004.
How long is that?
It's a 5-hour drive, and it was essentially it was snowing, and there was snow blowing, so it was like driving through dry ice because you couldn't see.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to stop anything in Fargo, right? The wind will cut you in half and fucking count the rings. And so it was all. But Maria rented the finest vehicle in the world. It was an SUV.
Yeah.
And the only SUV they had was an Audi.
Oh my God.
But she forgot her driver's license. But she brought her passport because she was going on to Toronto.
Yeah.
So I drove from Fargo to Duluth. And then we hung out with her folks a couple of days and her sister. Mm-hmm. We got to meet the mayor because she got made. It was Maria Bamford Day.
No,
yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah, the mayor was cool. The mayor of Duluth is this cool woman.
Awesome.
Yeah, she was really funny and charming and had a really good nice. Her husband seemed very nice. Anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah, the shows were good. This week I'm going to that San Francisco gig that you gave me.
I'm going to
And,
tell them after the gig. I was like, you gave me the wrong fucking date.
And I've offered it back to I'm done offering it back to you. I'm in all the paperwork now.
I know what that meant.
No, I meant it. I was like, take this cup from me. I am Jesus in that analogy. Anyway, so just Kyle.
Well, maybe I can do it next year if they do it next year.
Yeah, they'll do it again.
Okay.
And but that'll be fun. I'm essentially just going to San Francisco for the day.
Are you going to do? So you're not going to do anything else when you're up there?
No, I'm. Though I did just
Wait,
pick
what
up
night?
Thursday. I'm going to fly there Thursday morning, do the gig that afternoon, fly back to the flight back goes to LAX. So I'm leaving out of Burbank and I'm coming back to LAX. But I'm back by like 10, 11 o'clock at night.
That's nice. I
That's
always
great.
wondered, like, could I live in the Bay Area and just commute to Conan every day? Because it's right near the Burbank airport. Say I lived right in Oakland, I could just take a fly every single day on Southwest. Could you do that?
I think it's possible. I think you would drive yourself nuts.
Perhaps. But if you're not checking a bag, you're pre or clear even.
Right.
You sail right in, you go right on the plane. It's less of a commute than some people have down here in cars.
Except for I think you can walk to work right now, can't you?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't think it would be easier than that.
I know it's not a good idea for me to move to Oakland.
Right.
But I was just
Yeah.
I miss the Bay Area sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I have upcoming. I'm doing. I'm here for 3 weeks, but then I'm doing Boise and I'm doing Roosters and I'm doing Throckmorton and
What's Boise? Is that a room?
it's the Tree Fort Comedy Festival. Emma Arnold's
fun.
Comedy Festival, I believe.
Do they have a full-time room there?
I don't know.
They used to have the Funny Bone was really fun there.
Welcome back, and thank you, Dan, for that scathing report. As you know, Max Fun Drive is coming up March 18th to March 29th, which has some folks pretty excited. But as families around the world get ready to celebrate this season of giving, community, and quality podcasts, some are wondering if it's just too much.
Are they, though?
They are. Some people are all for comedy and culture, but with 45 shows offering hundreds of hours of bonus content, plus all the Max Fun meetups taking place around the world, some people think it's too much.
While other people think it sounds totally awesome.
I took my granddaughter to the mall to get her picture taken, and the mall pod ferry was short. And I'm just gonna say it, I'm sorry, but everyone knows the pod ferry is tall.
Well, I think we should just leave it there. Until next time, here's the news you need to know. Max Fun Drive runs from March 18th through 29th. Be sure to listen to all of your favorite podcasts. I know I will.
Oh, there used to be a couple of clubs.
Remember Lisa at the Funny
I
Bone?
never worked it. I submitted avails for half a decade.
She was like, she was like a Funny Bone manager, and I think she worked one of the earlier Bones, like near. I don't know where they started.
Did you hear that John Cleese has a comedy club up in Santa Barbara?
No,
Yeah, Augie Smith is doing it tonight.
really.
2 shows.
I want to do it.
I know, me too.
Wait, so it's just a Saturday night?
I believe so.
Wow.
And no hotel. You turn around and come back, but it pays
you know
enough.
what?
It pays enough to make it
Treat
worthwhile.
yourself. Yeah, you're not. No one makes any
I
money in
can't-
LA anyway.
Well, I can't go to Santa. I've been offered any number of Santa Barbara gigs, and they all pay $150. And it's a 6-hour round
I
trip.
know.
You know, it's 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
there and back.
But you get to see those flouncy skirts of the Santa Barbara
You
ladies.
get to see all the audience members, which are either grandparents and their grandchildren.
They're all
or scantily clad college kids.
They're happy retired people.
Either happy,
They've
fabulously
chose
wealthy,
yeah.
retired people and their grandchildren, or the Ute, the scantily clad
please.
college kids.
Please. Never say the word
Goodfellas. Do you ever watch the movie Goodfellas? Mm-hmm. How about Axel? Have you ever seen Axel? Did you hear about
How
Axel?
much time have we done?
48.
Oh my God!
Wow,
I was
another
hoping
12
for a
minutes
higher
to
number.
hear about Axel.
I was hoping for a higher number.
I've decided to Axel roll people. Just it's.
I've seen you posting about it, and it's something I don't like.
The boy would like it.
I don't like all caps.
Think of it like this: The Bourne Identity meets Air Bud.
Air Bud, the dog.
Movie, the dog.
I want no part of this.
Think of it this way.
No,
Blue
I already
Crush.
thought of it. You can't make me think of it again. I thought of it. I say no. I say
is
no.
about a robot
I will
dog.
talk about fucking Rebellion season 2 if you bring up Axel again.
All right, fair enough. How about Cloak and Dagger? That's the only other thing I'm watching on television.
I started. Did you watch Fleabag?
No.
It's the lady who does Killing Eve. She's the writer of Killing Eve.
Yeah.
It's so good. She's so fucking talented.
There's so much talent right now.
But
It's
she's
great. I'm not
British.
watching any of it.
She's Phoebe Waller-Bridge or Bridge Waller. Oh, she's got one of those hyphenated British names.
Sure.
God damn. I'm like, and I'm like, where does she find the time? I look for her on Twitter. Oh, she's not on Twitter. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
What am I doing? I've spent a lot of time caring for family members,
Right.
instead of writing other stuff. Seriously,
Yes.
this is where my energy's going.
Well, I
These
know.
other people in Britain are on their second TV shows.
Right. They were ignoring their family members. Good for you, Brits. Good for you. So I'm going on that AFE tour. Armed
what?
Forces,
Oh,
Armed
yeah,
Forces
right.
of Eastern Europe. And so I'm trying to figure out, I hit up a guy at PlayStation to get some games to bring the troops. Because the troops are always
that's
bored.
cool.
Yeah, they're always bored. And then I also hit up a friend of mine who could get wholesale board games. And so I just want to get the smaller, like there's some really great small card games.
Oh, okay.
And if I could bring half a dozen of those or a dozen of those.
That'd be cool.
It's just nice when you go to a new base to just go, hey, add this to your library, and like it's a copy of some PS4 game.
Did you need any books, Jackie? I have a few hundred.
Dead People Suck with our troops. Let's not. And
It's not about a troop
it's
death.
for death. No, it isn't.
Please, troops would love it, man. Troops have the darkest sense of humor.
Yeah, they do. And so,
are you flying coach?
I'm tomorrow is Sunday.
Yes.
The day before we release this, and I will be talking with Vargas at a benefit I'm doing at Flappers.
I'm doing
at
that
4
benefit
p.m.
tomorrow. Yeah.
So I'm going to find out when I'm going to find out about my flight.
Because I mean, if they buy just a regular Delta ticket, couldn't you just bop up?
Yes, except for that the Department of Defense rarely uses Delta. They usually use.
Can you get
I've asked
your money and just?
I've asked him for all of that.
Okay.
And I'm going to reiterate tomorrow. And who knows if he. I mean, I know that the logistics on this thing. It's a plate spinning thing, booking these things.
Right.
So I don't know how much effort he can do.
What
or
if
is
you
willing
just
to do.
fly privately, get the money for the flight, fly in a day early to Poland or wherever.
I don't know why
whatever.
he thinks it's funny, except for because I'm infuriated. Because here's the thing: they won't give me the money. I've asked him if they'll just give me the money, and he said the Department of Defense will not give you $1,200.
Oh.
So if I want to fly, I either have to use all. Let us just say that I have already decided to fly separately.
Okay.
Because I fly too much
Yeah.
to get stuck in a tin can on
Yes.
a United flight.
Right.
It will not make my 3 weeks driving around
it will be
riffing
awful.
with Amy Anderson and a couple of who is great.
Oh wow, Amy Anderson.
I'm going with Amy Anderson,
Oh, cool.
and that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then 2 young male comics who I assume will be riffing about every
Herpes.
Possibly herpes, possibly a lot of road signs. The last time I went on the road with newer comics,
Right.
they would not stop riffing, and I am
Man,
planning.
That's
on,
a disease.
It is. It
really is.
Well, you just got to grow out of it, comedy wise, and
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
You want to riff.
You could kind of do that anti-riff where you're pretending you think you're the first person who's ever made this terrible joke. Like, that's fun. But when
Slow children? Wait a minute. What does that sign say? It's Andy said a very funny thing the other day, and I was thinking about putting it in the middle of my Women Are People chunk. And then I was like, you should check if this is an IP, like just an IP check kind of thing.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was essentially a condom called Inconceivable. It's just a pun.
Right.
And I thought it was funny, and it would lighten the tone of my Women Are People. Not possible, because someone's already made it for real. Like, that's a real condom that you can buy.
All right.
And
and not use.
I've been working. I've been using on. I've been
According
working
to you.
on this joke that it's long, but it's tightening up really nicely. Right, the Women Are People thing. And there's probably 4 solid punchlines. Right. And if I hit all 4 of them, it's a joke. If I don't hit all 4 of them, it's a fucking PSA. And it is maddening.
What do you mean if you don't hit them? If you forget them? Or
if the
they don't
timing's a
work?
little off.
Right,
like if I land on my ankle and twist it.
Yes,
Like, you know how that is?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think it was the second show in Duluth, I hit 1, 2, and 4. And I missed 3. It didn't land as hard as it needed to. And it will land harder when it's better written, when I've tightened it up correctly.
Right.
But right now it's a little loose, and so it's uneven gravel that I'm
Yes.
fucking talking on.
the worst.
And so at the end of it, I hit 1, 2, and 4, and I missed 3. And so they laughed at 4, and then I just said, did that feel cryptic? Did that feel cryptic at all, that joke? And I got a big laugh on that because it was just kind of a save.
Okay.
But they were such nice audiences. Maria Bamford's audiences, as you can imagine. They're just smart and happy.
Yep. I had a tweak tonight that I thought of after yoga. I was like, oh my God, I just saved this chunk. I just saved it. Then
You were the hero.
I went up at the Improv at Laura's show, and it didn't work. And I was so crestfallen because I was like,
thought it was going to do it.
I thought it would work. I really did.
Yeah.
And then the rest.
It might.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm so tired. Like, I've just tried so many iterations of things in different orders.
Yeah.
And moving this line here and this, like, it's like a quilt that you just keep rearranging the squares, and there's one way that it's going to work. And
you can't.
So if you rearrange one row and then something's not working, but it might not be because you moved that joke. It might be because of this thing you fucking forgot you dropped.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I listened to 4.5 hours of my own stand-up comedy last weekend.
Oh my God.
Ugh, I logged it and everything. And
You did?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And, there's one older chunk in it, so I can skip that 7 minutes.
Right.
But in that case, I found an hour that I like and a half hour that I like that I think I can submit for Netflix or some
great.
specials, right? But I have to listen to the other 22 hours to see if those are truly the best half hour and hours.
So your sets are that different where
the thing is the older ones.
We mean older from like
right from like 2 months ago, a month and a half, like because they're they're 20 sets in the last 2 months, right?
Right.
And some of the Denver sets, there's a Friday Night Denver that I need to listen to that I've been putting off because I've been doing them in order. I listened to 3 1 hours and 1 half hour, and then I was like, I'm going to get rid of all of these short New York sets.
Yeah.
And so I listened to all the short New York sets, and so I feel slightly caught up, but also slightly buried.
Yeah.
But that's all right. I mean, you learn so much from listening to the sets.
I know.
But it's exhausting.
It is, and it's weird. I remember, like, I did Aaron Judge's show at the romance.
Oh, yeah. You did the
Rich Bodice?
Yeah, the Rich Bodice.
And I remember feeling like, oh, this is it. This is the perfect iteration of it. And I went back and listened to it. And like I've added stuff now that works better and everything, but there's no, I don't know. It's killing me.
Yeah, but it's when you get it right, you'll love it. And then you'll never do them again.
Oh, I remember.
What?
Because I opened with something. Here's the thing, like, what you open with is really important, obviously, if you're working on a TV set. And, you know, I think in her thing, it was sponsored by tampons or something. They had a million tampons. So I was kind of talking about that, and then I kind of dove into it from there. And I was like, that was a nice dive, but obviously that'll never happen again.
You can't recreate that again. Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's here, and I was thinking tonight, I'm like, can I just, instead of being disappointed if a riff doesn't work or if this version of it didn't work, can I just enjoy the fact that I have other good jokes that do work and not get depressed in the middle of my set because one fucking line didn't work?
Yes.
Because that's what I'm turning into. I'm just getting very gloomy. And
don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is the best advice I ever got was to have fun. Make sure you do every set for the fun of it.
Right.
Which means that sometimes it's going to be loose. And sometimes and holding on so tight for the next TV set. If you hold on too tight, it'll get wooden.
I know. Oh,
so
I know.
you might have to.
Everything's.
Yeah.
It's hardwood floors here.
Ooh, we bought new curtains. Do you want to hear
color?
that story? Blue. Which is weird because nothing in our because we bought new furniture.
Yeah.
And you know when you replace something? Mm-hmm. And then you're like, well, now everything else looks gross.
Yeah.
And so we replaced the curtains, and now I'm like, we need a new area rug. But once we replace the area rug, it'll be done. That'll be...
No, well.
Well, that room will be done. The blue picked up the new floor from 2 years ago in the kitchen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So...
Okay, come on, Kyle.
59?
Yeah.
That's not bad. So this is going to go up this week. What are you doing this week? LA sets?
Oh, LA sets this week. Yes.
Me too.
Yeah, LA sets this week.
Oh, I'm going to feature for Foley at Flappers.
Oh, cool. Fun.
Yeah, on Friday night. And then
nice.
Carmen's going to do Saturday.
Yay.
And so that'll be fun. And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm at Lake Tahoe, at the Improv at Lake Tahoe, July 24th.
Did you just get that? That's neat.
Mm-hmm. Through the 30th, maybe?
Do you know what else is happening next week?
To the 28th. What?
Captain Marvel's coming out. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go see it the 8th and the 9th.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yeah, we can call it.
Bye.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.